welcome to Busted Speakers. I'm Kush,
I'm Alex.
And I'm Cam.
and today we're going to be discussing how we got into music originally. For me, it was quite interesting. So I grew up with a lot of older cousins that were all females, so they listened to a lot of Jonas Brothers and Jason Mraz and just Disney Channel artists. And
Right.
I kind of grew up on that. This was like maybe third, fourth, fifth grade when they first like would show it to me, and like I didn't really explore much music on my own at the time, nor did I know much about it. But so I just listened to whatever they're listening to. And then I remember going into sixth grade, and the kid in my science class, the kid sitting next to me, I won't forget. He had this I guess pencil box, and it had a whole bunch of bands on there like Protest the Hero and Black Veil Brides, and just like edgy middle school bands that I started looking up online and would listen to on a regular basis. And from then, like middle school was like my metalcore, post-hardcore sort of phase. Then in high school, I just started listening to more music, exploring the genres, and I always had this just desire, like, or not desire, but like just hated rap music because I felt like it was stupid and just didn't enjoy it until probably senior year of high school, when I finally like just stopped listening to like radio rap and found underground rappers and other rappers I actually enjoyed, like Kendrick Lamar and A$AP Rock and Atmosphere. And I think senior year of high school is when I really just got into music, and now I love it. I mean, I love tracking albums, tracking artists, and comparing it to their old work. It's really just a pastime now.
Yeah, cool. How old's third, fourth, fifth grade, like in age?
Well, yeah, it's like what, 9, 10 years old.
Right, that's pretty. That would be early if you were into music big then. So fair enough. Only hearing Disney Channel music.
Yeah, I mean, my dad got me into Indian music. Well, I'm Indian, so he got me into Indian music when I was really young.
Right.
Just the classicals, just the classics, just generic Bollywood music, and I liked it. And now looking back, I don't know why I liked it, because it's all just like really bad pop remixes, and I just can't really deal with it now.
Well, there's that one big commercial one on YouTube. I don't know if it's commercial, that Vinu Malesh song. You know that one?
Maybe I don't know what you're talking about.
I can't remember the title, but hang on. Yeah, that's the weird Indian Bollywood thing. That's the only one I know.
Yeah. How about you,
Great.
Cam?
My story now?
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
so
it's my life. I'll live it the way I want to.
Oh, that's like a meme song.
Yes.
That's not like, no one takes that song seriously.
I do.
It's a pretty bad song, and it's kind of fun to listen to, but like
Yeah.
it's not that good.
Yeah, all the comments are basically, "This is not real Indian music. Don't listen to this." Yeah.
yeah, the only
Sorry.
Indian music I know is from some Bollywood movie I caught on cable years ago. I don't even remember if it was subtitled or anything. I just watched it because, oh, this is on.
Yeah. There's also Ravi Shankar, who was
Mhm.
in with the Beatles, if you remember.
Yeah,
Or if you know.
he's much more popular in India. Like my dad listens to his kind of stuff, so.
But that stuff's actually good and influenced George Harrison to make some Indian pop songs, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Cause
I had some Nora Jones CDs, but that doesn't really count as Indian.
No, I mean the Beatles did have quite a lot of Indian influence in their music. It was something I only realized recently when I started listening to the Beatles more often. So.
They have like 5 songs, yeah.
Yeah, I've always wanted to hear, like, according to legend, there's a version of Within You, Without You, George recorded, that's like a half hour long, and they were just able to convince him to cut it down to 5 minutes.
A half
I can-
hour?
I can
Something like
imagine.
that.
Yeah, because those musicians were out there he found them from India to play on that, and I think they just jammed out, I think.
mean, that's one hell of a cut to turn 30 minutes into 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how about you, Cam? How did you get into music as a hobby?
Well, when I was little, I grew up in a religious family, and my parents didn't like, I didn't grow up listening to classic rock or anything like that. The closest thing I had was my parents played a Monkees best of for me and my brother all the time. And
Right.
so we became, or at least that really formed a love for pop rock in me, and that really has been the big influence throughout my whole life. Then I got my first exposure to mainstream radio when I was in 5th grade, I think, so about age 10, 11. And my parents were like, "We can't get you up anymore. Here's an alarm clock. Do it yourself." So I started listening to the only station that really came in clearly for me, which was just then it was just they called it today's best rock, pop, and hip hop, but now it's mostly just lame pop and bro country.
Right.
But obviously, I gravitated more towards the pop rock that was around at the time, and it was still like the very tail end of 90s pop punk. So even in like 04, 05, I was still hearing like Yellowcard's Ocean Avenue and Blink 182's All the Small Things in heavy rotation. And I have no guilty pleasures. I have no like regrets about anything I've listened to because of like if it influenced me. But I do kind of hate to say that one of the most indirectly influential bands in my history was Simple Plan. Like,
Oh, right.
I became freaking obsessed with Welcome to My Life when that was around, and I would like stay up so late into the night just with the radio underneath my bed sheets, just praying that that song would come on. I kind of want to punch myself for that, just like open a time portal just to smack myself in the head. But because of that song, I heard a lot of the other songs that influenced me in better ways and better directions. Like hearing, like I said, Ocean Avenue a lot helped me connect with one of my best friends, who's still a best friend to this day, and he and I traded some music back and forth. And then the biggest positive influence, and I still love them to this day, is Green Day, because that was around the time that American Idiot was huge, Boulevard of Broken Dreams and Holiday were played almost every day. And learning about the American Idiot album helped me learn about rock operas in general, which gave me a push toward classic rock. And around this time is also when I actually no, it was I think I started like just buying, like just going to the local Goodwill and buying CDs and stuff, and just getting into music as a hobby that way. But in high school, when I got my first job, that was really where I went crazy, because I just had money now and I could actually seek out a record store, because I was like, I live 30 miles away from a college town. There's got to be at least one record store that I can go to on a regular basis, and there was. And that's where like half of my collection came from for the longest time. And I just kept on looking for new CDs there and all the other thrift stores in the area. And around this time, I also started looking into online music forums. For the longest time, my main one was IMDb's Music General, but then I think through some people there, I discovered Rate Your Music. And I used to post more regularly there, but now I just pop in every once in a while to the forums just to see if there's anything I can contribute to, and I still catalog everything obsessively. But yep, that's long and short of it.
I mean, about the Simple Plan, I think I had similar influences when I was younger, probably Green Day, Linkin Park. Now, I will defend old Simple Plan. I know last year they dropped an album and there was almost a train wreck. And but I will defend Simple Plan to this day.
That's the weird thing, because Simple Plan, they were never a commercial hit in the UK, so I don't have any predetermined notions about them or anything. I don't see them as being a embarrassment of a band, but I don't really know them either, so...
I mean, yeah, last year was just a bad album. It was just disappointing.
Yeah, I haven't kept up with them since their like third album.
Right.
But I mean, there's still some bands from that era that I'll defend. Like I said, I love Yellow Card, mostly a couple songs, but they have one album that I really love, and I like Blink-182, even their immature days, and I'll even stick up for All American Reject's second album. But Simple Plan and for the most part Good Charlotte, I just can't.
Yeah, I grew out of those pretty quickly. I mean, about Yellow Card, my dad gave me this really old MP3 player, and like it was some knockoff Chinese brand of like iPod. It was really fat, really heavy, and there's only 3 songs on there, and one of which was Ocean Avenue by Yellow Card, and I listened to that song obsessively. And I will defend Yellow Card, and I mean, like, I have my guilty pleasures from my childhood. Like, I mean, I'm the first one to defend metalcore music, even though most people hate it.
Yeah.
But I will be the first one to defend it, for the most part. I mean, there's some bands that I'll just stay away from, but I still just because they had such an influence on me growing up as a music lover. So
That MP3 thing you have sounds really dodgy, Kush.
oh dude, it was terrible. It was like, I would say almost like a pound. Just a small MP3 is a pound, and
Wow.
it had 3 songs on there. It was like 20 gigs of storage, and they also had this feature where you can like record FM radio. So like, I would like wait for a song to come on FM radio and then instantly start recording, and then go on and stop recording. So I would have the songs without actually buying them. I mean, yeah, pirate in the making, but
That's kind of cool, going back to the 70s pirating of recording songs onto cassettes.
yeah. Well, how about you, Alex? How did you get into music?
Right, here we go. So until I was about 14, I was not into music at all. Actually, no, 13, sorry. I don't know, I just never got into it. I was into video games, I was into just being a kid, having a good time, playing around, whatever. And then, I guess a precursor were the band The Proclaimers. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Yeah, I've
Yep.
heard of them.
That one song, yeah. Well, they're known for a few more songs over here, like 10. So they're pretty big deal, kinda. And if you're Scottish, you really know about them. So it's almost my patriotic duty to be into them. It wasn't cool, so in about November 2010, I saw an advert for the Beatles' Red and Blue album that was just coming out on CD, because there was just the 2009 remasters, and I guess they reissued that one because I don't know, it was the most famous compilation album, the 2-set, released 3 years after they disbanded, so that was a good one to get. And I'd always heard about the Beatles, but I never really listened to them at all, so I had to get those for Christmas, and I got them, and I listened to those religiously, man. I mean, every day for about months and months. And there's only like 50 songs on there, so I knew they had more. So I remember a few days I went out to get their albums. I got the White Album, Beatles for Sale, Let It Be, and John Lennon Greatest Hits. So once I got those, that was me well on my way. So for about a year I was only into pop rock from the 60s, 70s, just about, and some like 2000s stuff, like Franz Ferdinand and Arctic Monkeys. You know them?
Yep, heard of them.
Yeah, they're really big in the UK in the mid 2000s, and they still had a big impact in 2010, 11, and yeah, I listened to those all the time. I guess I was into just that kind of thing for about 2 years, which is kind of boring. But then 2013, I decided to get into metal and punk, which was just Metallica, Iron Maiden, Ramones, and The Clash for a while. So that's not really going through the discovery hole that far. But slowly but surely, I started to get into more genres like hip hop via Kanye West. Yeah, so I was just getting into anything. I'd listen to anything because I enjoy so much music. In 2015, I started getting into pop really big via that Carly Rae Jepsen album, Emotion, which is a pretty big dead cert to get into music online. So from there, I got into some Taylor Swift, some Grimes, some Haim, I guess I mentioned them on another episode, and yeah, so from there, I guess I was just at a point where I liked all types of music because, unlike you two, I did have some guilty pleasures or stuff I really was ashamed of liking. But since I got into pop in 2015, I got into a point where I really liked anything I listened to as long as it was good, any genre, and that's where I am now, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really picky about the music. I'm not picky about the type of music, but I am picky about specific bands and specific things that they do, and that in that sense. But if it's a well-composed album, I'll probably give it a shot and just listen to it and probably enjoy it too. But since I started listening to music more technically, I have been noticing little things that just kind of take me off from even older music that I really enjoyed back in the day.
Like what?
Like like the lyricism on Linkin Park's Menace to Midnight. It's so drab, and I love the heck out of that album when I first listened to it.
Yeah.
But the lyricism is just so boring and generic, and every song does sound similar, and that kind of things like I've just noticed when I go back and try to re-listen to albums that I really enjoyed from my childhood. Maybe I've grown out of them, but I want to just still say that they're still one of my favorites from back then.
Yeah, they've got some good stuff. I actually forgot to say that in that 2011, 2013 period where I hadn't gone on to any music, I actually did start listening to like Pink Floyd and Radiohead pretty early on, like their whole discographies. So I spent like 2 years on just those two bands, which is unspoken of now to me because that's so limiting and so boring just to focus on two bands, but I was so into them. Obsessed, like live videos that are really bad quality on YouTube. I'd listen to those, just anything. Bootlegs, dubious bootlegs of Radiohead songs that probably were more Muse copycat bands in reality. Stuff like that. Yeah.
I mean, I think Radiohead is I don't know. I think most people agree that they're some of the most game-changing music and one of the just probably most influential bands of all time, I would say.
Yeah. Well, when I heard them, that was my gateway into electronic and, I don't know, glitch pop, all sorts of experimental music. So that was actually, if they're gonna spend a year like really dedicated listening to one band, that's probably one of the best you can get.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, their discography is just so massive and so dense. It does take a lot of time to just take in all of the music. So
It was just when Kin of Limbs came out, so I was lucky to have an album out that they were still touring on, I guess.
Any last words from either of you?
Nothing I can think of.
Okay, then. Thanks for tuning
Just
in. Go ahead.
just really happy that I got into music. You know, it's because I'm not into film that much. Well, a little bit now, but at the time I really wasn't. So I'm just happy I've got into music now.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I enjoy movies, but like not to the extent that I enjoy music, because I think music is just more accessible to listen to. And I feel like
I mean, yeah, I'm into
Good.
TV shows almost as much as music actually for some reason, which is a bit weird because you'd think if I was into TV shows, I'd be into films more, but I'm not. I don't know. There is a similarity there because musicians have a constant. Well, some of them, it depends on the musician, have constant albums out for decades, and TV shows will have constant episodes out, while a film might just be a singular thing. So I like to have a consistency, stability, I guess.
I'm actually more of a movies guy than music or TV. Just because I find movies easier to talk about. Because I can it's for one thing, I find movies more immersive because it's audio and visual stimulation. So it's like more of my focus is directed on the movie rather than when I'm listening to an album. And sometimes I can just kick back and listen, but a lot of the time I either have something else that I need to do, or I just naturally drift toward finding something else to do. And I feel like I just understand film just on a basic level more than music. Because music is sounds arranged in specific ways to trigger specific emotions, and film is that with images and sound. So it's I can kind of use the combination of both to relate to it better. It's kind of hard to describe.
I get what you mean.
No, yeah, I get what you mean too. I would definitely say talking about movies is easier, and there's a much more clear method of saying something is bad or good because it's just one thing. Because a lot of albums have a couple good tracks, couple okay tracks, couple bad tracks, and it's kind of hard to give a general consensus without going into a lot of detail.
Yeah, and it's easier to say what you thought of a movie as a whole, when it's not an anthology movie or an art film or something, because most movies try to have a specific story and specific meaning and that sort of thing. And with albums, I marvel sometimes when I read professional reviews and the critic is able to say, this is the album where they're trying to do this. They're trying to, hold on to the fan base that they've had for decades, but they don't know how to do it. Or, they're trying to push past the boundaries of the genre that they helped create or whatever. And I'm just it's amazing that you people can do that. All I hear is a few good songs, a few okay songs. And...
It's probably more of an acquired skill than anything.
Probably, yeah.
Well, whenever a music reviewer's saying stuff like that, a lot of the time they're basically talking out of their ass. Well,
oh yeah, for sure. I agree.
Because they've just got an elevated platform to talk about it. They don't personally know the guys. They don't know probably what they're trying to go for. But yeah, I know what you mean, because there's some people who can talk promisingly and concisely about music in a way I wish I could, but I really can't at the moment. Maybe doing this show will change that. We'll see.
Yeah, for now we're just three guys BSing about music.
Yeah, definitely.
If that's it, then I'd say thanks for tuning in to Busted Speakers. Make sure you like and subscribe if you enjoy the video. Check us out on social media for the latest updates, and let us know how you feel in the comments below.
Yeah, how did you get into music?